This is Snow Crash, and this is where the concept of the metaverse was first introduced. In Snow Crash, the metaverse is a three-dimensional virtual world that's built alongside a 100-meter wide road that encircles a perfectly spherical black planet. Just to get a sense of the scale, the metaverse planet is about 50% bigger than the actual size of the Earth. And in this virtual space, people can interact with each other via their avatars, buy or sell property, travel around by train, or simply walk around. It's important to note that the metaverse is fully immersive virtual reality and doesn't require a screen interface to connect to it. Here, people can purchase metaverse real estate pretty much in the same way as you would do on Decentraland or Axie Infinity. If you're not familiar with these platforms, they operate very similar to traditional MMO or online games, where you virtually walk around, talk to people, explore the map, buy and sell gear, etc. You get the gist of it. There's just one distinction that makes a metaverse very different from an online MMO game, and that's the fact that it needs to be virtual. On top of that, Decentraland land is owned by a DAO, or a decentralized autonomous organization. I'm not going to focus on that right now, but do bear in mind the word decentralized. If you want to hear more about it, now this is a good time to subscribe to my channel, as I'll be covering this topic in more detail in the future. On the other hand, real estate in Snow Crash Metaverse is owned by one company. The entire idea of the Snow Crash Metaverse is to present a dystopic future where two giant corporations own pretty much everything in the virtual and real space. Not dissimilar to how Facebook would go about creating their own metaverse. Much like Second Life, Decentraland, MMOs, or any other iteration of a virtual reality, in Snow Crash you can customize your avatar with premium gear, and the more premium gear you have, the more it signifies the fact that you are knowledgeable about the backend of the platform. You are maybe a hacker or a coder or a VIP, but definitely you're someone really important if you have rare gear. In Snow Crash, the world's biggest corporations are working together to create a society of control and to further pursue their corporate gains. There are two companies, one that owns all of the land in the metaverse and another company that owns all of the fiber optic contracts globally in the real life. And to make things particularly spicy, religious organizations are in on it as well and are working with giant corporations in order to further expand their control over the general population. Within the metaverse itself, Snow Crash is some sort of cyberdrug that comes in a form of an infected file. And yes, you can in fact interact with files within the metaverse. When used in conjunction with a real-life narcotic, it would allow for the reprogramming of a victim's brain using ancient Sumerian texts as audio stimuli. The global fiber optic conglomerate, along with a religious organization, are working hand in hand in order to create these neuroviruses for personal, corporate gain, and population control. L. Bob Rife would administer the drug via infected files within the metaverse, while the religious organization would in fact work in real life and try and infect people using infected blood. Cheers. Enki, a legendary figure in the Snow Crash universe and god of water and knowledge in Sumerian mythology, was able to reverse engineer this virus and create an antivirus. The way it would work is it would stop the victim's brain from processing Sumerian texts, which in turn gave birth to alternative, lesser-known languages. This accidentally created the myth of Babel. There are two factors that played an important role in allowing the Snow Crash metaverse to become the centralized mess that it was by the end of the book. And that is, corporations were allowed to grow unchecked and completely monopolize markets. The central government had no power over corporations, and the corporations had taken their place. This form of governance is a dystopic depiction of anarcho-capitalism, which had become the norm in Snow Crash. Anarcho-capitalism advocates the elimination of the centralized government and instead replaces it with a system of private ownership that is enforced by private firms and free markets. This philosophy extends the idea of ownership to include private property as part of the self. In Snow Crash, the world had moved to anarcho-capitalism after a huge crash in the market. You could also say that the clue is in the title. Los Angeles is no longer part of the United States because the federal government has ceded most of its power and territory to organizations, entrepreneurs, and corporations. The idea of control, such as policing or intelligence agencies in an anarcho-capitalistic society, is usually enforced by private defense systems, such as the CIC, which is a private and for-profit version of the CIA. Apart from obvious technical differences such as not being able to explore the current metaverses in VR today, it seems that a lot of the blockchain companies that are working on creating metaverses have read this book and are trying to do their best to keep the metaverse decentralized. And I can't say the same thing for Facebook. With many of them operating as DAOs to a certain degree, they are less likely to be manipulated by a central authority. I won't go into too much detail about decentralization, but I will cover this in a future video. So, the metaverse is a 3D virtual reality set in an anarcho-capitalistic future where two giant corporations own pretty much all the virtual and real assets. Oh, and religion is corrupt too and hell-bent on population control. Now, was Neal Stephenson a visionary or an exceptional science fiction writer? With Amazon dominating nearly 50% of the world's cloud computing market and with Google owning 92.47% of the world's search market, it is not unreasonable to believe that a future like this might indeed be possible. Without a significant adjustment into monopolization control and corporate growth, we could very well be living in a world where Omnicorp pretty much provides any service or product that you need. From the water you drink, to the car you drive, to the pavement you drive it on, and to the porn you watch, Omnicorp's gonna have it all. And that much power given to a single organization out there is probably not the best idea. What the metaverse is, and what the metaverse should be, are two different things, and I hope that we fall on the right side of history. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give me a like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. I'll do more decentralization, Web3, and metaverse discussions in the future, and I'd be really happy to see what you think about this video. Until next time, goodbye.